D2 Word Life here with Scott Steiner's biggest fan, Riptides.
No. Well, Scott Steiner was a big star back then, but yeah. No, your biggest fanboy of Triple H and Ric Flair to suck each other, so there you go.
Not for that last part you said, but both are legends today. But yeah, today we are reviewing the 2003 Royal Rumble, Riptide's favorite event that he just insisted on reviewing this week.
No, hell no. No. You wanted to watch that suck blow fest of a Royal Rumble.
But anyway, the show was...
Just to try to get even with me, but no, just fear what will be coming in the coming months.
Just think, in 2 weeks...
Very afraid.
And just think, every time... Just think, also the ballpark's also in my shit, too.
Yes, but one of them could be Heroes of Wrestling.
We don't talk about that, and no, I'm never going to find it to watch it. You can watch that on your goddamn own, and you can just sit there and talk to me about how crappy it was. But anyway.
Just remember, anything you try to do, that's always in my back pocket.
But anyway, this event, the 2003 Royal Rumble event, took place on January 19, 2003 in Boston, Massachusetts at the Fleet Center. And since this was a branded show, both Raw and SmackDown were here because this was during the draft era.
No.
And it had an attendance of 15,338 people.
Yep.
And shout out to the Sunday Night Heat or pre-show match, whatever you want to call it, with Spike Dudley defeating Steven Richards in a singles match prior to the main pay-per-view.
Your boy, Steven Richards.
No, that's your boy.
No, that's your boy. Your boy from the right to censor.
But nah, you're freaking... Say no, but your actual boy was freaking at ringside during the Rumble match. We'll discuss that later. Anyway, show started off with an opening package hyping how the winner of the Royal Rumble match will go on to main event WrestleMania and how important that is. Before we get to the main show, and the commentators for this show was Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler for Raw, and Taz and Michael Cole for SmackDown.
Yep. Michael Cole.
Sorry, but those two ring announcing teams bring me back to my childhood. How about you?
Yeah.
So it wasn't all bad. It was a little bit nostalgic here.
Yeah, it was your boy Michael Cole.
Yeah, in the opening match.
And the two announcers that aren't in, well, all three of them aren't in WWE anymore, except one might be coming back.
Yeah.
JR and, well, two of them may be coming back.
Yeah, but Jim Ross is up there in age. I'm pretty sure he may want to retire at this point. As of this year. But anyway.
Gary Lawler retired.
Yep. Michael Cole's now the head commentator for WWE these days. But anyway, the opening match to this pay-per-view was the Big Show with Paul Heyman taking on Brock Lesnar, where the winner will advance to the Royal Rumble match itself later in the show.
Well, they also discussed how Big Show and Paul Heyman screwed Brock Lesnar out of the title at Survivor Series.
So, yeah. And anyone who knows the history of the Royal Rumble knows that the winner of this match was blatant obvious. But we'll just talk about it for it really wasn't that long of a match. It was brief. But it did show Brock Lesnar Brock Lesnar dominating Big Show with suplexes before, Suplex City was a thing. Like belly-to-belly suplexes and all that, showing off his strength. Then
this is also at the time where everyone was saying it was a fluke that Brock Lesnar had lifted Big Show.
Yeah, but Brock Lesnar, he's a strong son of a bitch, still is to this day.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that at that point, everyone was still saying, "Oh, Brock Lesnar got lucky when he did that. Big Show wasn't feeling well." And I'm like, dude, Brock Lesnar lifted a 555-pound fucking man onto his shoulders and then just F5'd his ass.
Yeah, and then Brock Lesnar did battle back, working over Lesnar also. It's like including at one point hitting Brock Lesnar with a chokeslam after Lesnar went to go attack Heyman on the outside of the ring, only for Lesnar to kick out at 2.
Yeah.
And of course, at this point, Big Show was angry. Paul Heyman was like, "Do him again." And then Big Show went to go do it again, only for Brock to reverse the chokeslam attempt and pretty much whip Big Show into Paul Heyman, which gave Lesnar an opening to lift Big Show up and perform the F5 to win the match and advance the Royal Rumble match. This one was blatant obvious.
Yes, but I also like the hype package that they had for the Lesnar and Big Show match where they were saying, "Oh, they screwed him." They showed the video of Brock Lesnar literally attacking everyone.
Yep. And besides that, Big Show did freaking have a little bit of offense, including a big boot to Lesnar's face at one point, as well as hard chops to his chest.
Yeah, but it didn't matter how much offense. He was still going to get fucking dominated.
And yes, Brock Lesnar being just dumped over the top rope by the Big Show was impressive because nobody throws around Lesnar like that, hardly ever, but in the end it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
With Brock getting the victory here, was it a good way to open up this show? Yeah. Did its job. But the result was never in doubt here, right?
Yeah.
With Lesnar getting his win back and to advance the Royal Rumble match, I wonder who has a chance to win the 2003 Royal Rumble match now. Yeah, and then backstage, Chris Jericho did a little interview with Terry. Jericho pretty much saying he chose number 2 for this Royal Rumble match because he wanted to prove he was better than Shawn Michaels. And it was out of joke because Shawn Michaels picked number 1.
Well, Shawn Michaels never picked the number 1. Mr. McMahon forced number 1 on Shawn Michaels.
It's like, yep. It's like, yeah. Mr. McMahon made Shawn Michaels number 1. Jericho only picked number 2, only to try to prove he was better than Michaels. All right?
Yeah.
When he won a 4-way elimination on Raw the prior Raw before this.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next match on the card was for the World Tag Team Championships. It was your boys William Regal and Lance Storm defending against the Dudleys. It's Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley. It was kind of interesting.
I'm sorry, but no, Lance Storm and William Regal were your boys, especially William Regal.
It's like, nah. And
no, your boy was Lance Storm.
Yeah, and I think it was kind of interesting for this one because while Regal and Storm were making their entrances about to get into the ring, the referees literally was like searching them thoroughly before the match even took place, looking for those brass knucks.
Well, that's because they knew that both of them would cheat.
So, great storytelling. Some we don't really see today with the referees.
We see it, but not enough.
Oh yeah, and before we even get into this match, I forgot to ask you your opinions on the Lesnar Big Show opener.
It was good.
It was all right. Served its purpose. But anyway, for this World Tag Team title match now, it was all right for what it was. It was good back and forth for a little while. We started off with Bubba Ray Dudley and Lance Storm in the ring as the two legal men. Bubba even hit a spine buster on Storm.
Couldn't use tables either.
Yeah, because I guess Mr. McMahon at the time made a mandate for the Dudleys saying he wants to hear the phrase Devon get the tables, but if they actually did that, the Dudleys would be disqualified.
Yep.
And I even liked how, I even thought it was creative how Storm took the flapjack from the Dudley boys. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, Regal got in the ring. And, you know, he was getting his comeuppance too at some point in the match.
Yeah.
And of course, they were also battling back. I mean, it was all right for what it was. It was a short tag match. And of course, Bubba then dumped Regal on the floor, followed by a sidewalk slam on the Storm for a 2 count at one point.
Yeah.
And Bubba even hit a release German suplex on Storm, who also kicked out after that. All right.
Yep.
And of course, the ending was kind of creative because Regal looked like he was about to use the brass knucks. Val Venus or Chief Morley, whatever you want to call him, had the referee distracted. Regal got hit.
He was Chief Morley at that time.
Yeah. Well, then Regal got hit with a 3D by the Dudleys before he could even do anything with the knucks, right? And Devon took the knucks off of Regal's hand and nailed Storm in the head with them. And then Devon pinned Storm to allow he and Bubba Ray to win the tag team championships.
Yep.
So pretty much the heels of the match ate their own comeuppance with that ending.
Yeah.
And of course, we all know what would happen next. This was the 15th title reign for the Dudley Boys, of course. Storm and Regal would win the tag team titles back the following night on Raw, meaning this train was 24 hours for the Dudleys.
Yeah.
But
they cheated anyway, so.
But, you know, with as many championship reigns that the Dudleys have together, I don't think they're crying over it.
25 different titles that they've won, tag team titles that they won
over their career, so I don't think they're crying over a one-day reign here. So your thoughts about this one?
It was interesting. Of course, I still don't understand why Val Venus went by Chief Morley and then went back to being Val Venus after he was fired from that position.
Yeah, I can tell you why Chief Morley, his real name, or Val Venus, his real name, Sean Morley, actually was Eric Bischoff's yes man during this era.
Yes.
As Chief Morley, or the chief of staff, his yes man, whatever you want to call him. And it was like 5 months later that Chief Morley reverted back to Val Venus because the Morley character was fired and Venus just came back to participate in Intercontinental Championship Battle Royal. Since he was a former Intercontinental Champion anyway at that point.
It was an ass kisser.
But yeah, that's another story for another day when we review that event. Right?
Yep.
So, this match wasn't the greatest tag match I've ever seen. It felt average to me. But, you know, it served its purpose, I guess, with the heels getting their comeuppance, a piece of their own medicine in the end. Yeah. Well, the referee was distracted, which I thought was creative there. I just felt like it could have used a little bit more time, but, you know, they could have shaved off some of the time for that world title match and put into this tag match, at least.
Yeah, but they wanted to hype up the title match so fucking much. Even though it was a flop.
Yeah, we're going to get to that here in a few minutes. Yeah, and the Dudleys celebrated their title wins. Fans were happy. Dudleys were champions again. Yeah. It's a good job. It was a high, fast-paced match anyway. Not a whole... So, it's like, it wasn't the best tag match I've ever seen, but it wasn't the worst either. It was kind of meh in the middle. I like the storytelling, though. And, of course, afterwards, they aired a video hype package about Nathan Jones. Remember that forgotten wrestler?
The Giant of Bogger Row.
Thank God there's... Yeah, and built from freaking Australia. Sheesh. That was a failed experiment. It wasn't until over 20 years later that WWE actually has a bright Australian star, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, your name you got your name after that.
Yourself with that.
You know that's a joke forever going to be on you during these review shows.
Yes, I know, but I've had that fucking gamer tag since before I even knew who the hell she was, or even before she thought of it.
But anyway, the next match on this card was built as stepmother versus stepdaughter, and I forgot all about this crappy storyline.
I told you there was more than one piece of shit on that show.
And it was Tori Wilson versus Dawn Marie, who was being built as Dawn Marie Wilson for this match. And yeah, and they did a video package before the match telling a bizarre story about the two women, including the supposed death of Al Wilson. That was distasteful.
Yeah.
Pretty much referring to he died after too much sex. On his wedding night to Dawn Marie.
Yep.
And of course, the only entertainment value I got out of watching that package was the very end of it when Marie hit freaking Wilson with the lamp, and all I can think about was like, did she tell her to brighten the fuck up first? That was the only entertaining bit to me of this whole video package hyping this match.
I swear to God, that fucking shit's not gonna go. I told him to brighten the fuck up.
Yeah. In this match, what do you expect from Ruthless Aggression women's match? It's not as good as the current day stuff. But I give them credit. They did what they could in the ring. Right? It was a really short match.
It was kind of their time, but with the whole sexist thing with fucking Eric Bischoff shit, that fucking kind of flopped.
And ironically, this was a feud on SmackDown. But anyway, the match was alright. I mean, it started off with Dawn Marie decking Tori in the forearm with a face after Tori completed her entrance while her theme song was still going, kicking off the action.
Yeah.
And of course, at one point, Tori Wilson did catapult Dawn Marie across the ring, seeing her face first into the canvas.
Yeah.
Instead of in the turnbuckle like we're used to seeing that spot be done, right?
Yeah.
But Dawn Marie did send Tori at one point into the ropes and then dropped her with a flapjack, which I thought was alright. It was a highlight for this. Yeah. But besides that, it's like... besides that, Tori got a backslide pin attempt for a 2 count, and I guess the crowd were chanting boring because there really wasn't much substance to this match. It felt like a paid-by-the-numbers match for a blood rivalry feud.
They had it right. It was boring.
And of course, Tori managed to get the win by hitting a swinging net breaker on Dawn Marie for the pinfall. Hey, your thought? And This match they could have just done on SmackDown. It felt like a SmackDown type match they could have just done. It didn't really feel like a feud blow off.
Yes, like I said, the crowd had it right. It was boring as hell.
Of course, after the match, Don Murray was going in the back yelling, "This ain't over. This ain't over." I'm like, please let it be over.
Oh, it won't be.
And of course, your thoughts on this Torrie Wilson versus Don Murray match?
Boring.
Yep.
Okay, people in the comments after this video was posted, please put if it was a flop or not.
To me, it just felt like something that wasn't pay-per-view worthy. It could have been just done on free TV on SmackDown at that time.
It was a flop.
Seriously, there was points there in this short match where I'm like, is the crowd literally silent here?
Yes.
They're like, we're not into this. Right?
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure you watching there was like, okay, this is crap. Right?
Oh, that's same later.
And of course, after the match, we go off to the back where Stephanie McMahon was talking to Eric Bischoff. And of course, there was a little cameo from Randy Orton, who was 22 years old at that point. Pretty much starting his career off. He was pretty much injured, recovering from injury at that point. Shoulder injury. Very minor. So I just made a cameo in the back.
He was talking to Stephanie, and then Eric Bischoff came in.
Yep. And pretty much Stephanie said goodbye to Eric, because I guess in storyline, Eric Bischoff had 30 days to shake Raw up at that point.
That's because Raw was falling behind SmackDown.
And pretty much then pretty much Stephanie and Eric Bischoff would tease that what's coming to their respective brands are going to be huge in the coming weeks, months.
Yeah.
At that point. And Stephanie was like, yeah, well, blood is thicker than, well, urine in Eric Bischoff's case. And Eric Bischoff replied was, money is thicker than blood. That was pretty much how that segment ended. And I can tell you straight off, I know what the announcement were. Eric Bischoff was bringing Steve Austin back, while Stephanie was bringing The Rock and Hulk Hogan back.
Yep.
In the following weeks after this Rumble.
Yep.
If they were here on this show, this Rumble would have been this Royal Rumble would have been a lot more entertaining. I'll tell you that much now. Right?
Yeah.
So speaking of matches that, and after that they showed a Sean O'Hare freaking promo. I'm not gonna get into it. This was when they were trying a new character out with him that kind of flopped.
Well, it didn't really flop. They just didn't give it a chance.
Yeah, they were building up Sean O'Hare's Devil Apprentice gimmick at this point. Or something. Right?
Yeah.
Which, it was kind of, I don't know if it was a flop. They never really gave it a chance or not. Instead, they just teamed O'Hare with Piper. And nothing really came of it.
Yeah, because Piper shortly after fucking left WWE.
Exactly. So anyway, the next match on the card is your favorite match of all time.
No, it's your favorite because you're the one that wanted to review this.
Don't you just love it? We all know this is your favorite match. I mean, you were looking forward to it all week.
No, I was dreading it all week.
This was the one match that you're like, oh, God help me, at the end of the last review.
Oh, God help me.
And of course, the next match if you don't know what we're talking about, the next match on the card was the World Heavyweight Championship match between champion Triple H and Scott Steiner.
Yep.
Of course, the video package that hyped this match up for the rivalry was alright, to say the least. with the whole pose down and the arm wrestling and the push-up competition between the two and the beatdown that Steiner gave Triple H afterwards.
Yeah.
Let's just say the video package was more interesting than the match itself.
It was more interesting.
Now, I really hate to say it, but this match, there's a lot of reasons why people say that this match was crap. And, well, we're about to get into why. Before the match even started.
It was shit from beginning to end.
Yeah. Before the match even started, Earl Hebner pretty much told Earl Hebner, remember that referee from the last review?
Well, it's because Earl Hebner warned him. He knew exactly because he worked with both of them.
Yes, Earl Hebner was like, I am the law in here. I ain't going to be putting up with any crap from any of y'all. And I'm just like, oh, God. Yeah, you're the guy who says you ain't going to put up with crap from anyone. Okay. Just thinking about the last review we did makes me think that. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Triple H and Hunter, the match started off into a slugfest. It was Steiner dominating some points, Triple H dominating some points, but God! It kind of started off promising with these big power moves, but it just that got old real quick.
Yeah, it was fucking interference heavy.
Yeah, with Ric Flair getting involved, which, yes, Triple H was the heel, you should expect that, but it got overplayed. It got overplayed worse than any Roman Reigns match in the modern era.
Yeah.
And how many belly-to-belly suplexes did we see Triple H suffer through in this match?
15 or 16.
Too many. There was so many freaking suplexes performed by Steiner in this match that even Brock Lesnar would be like, hey, you need to slow down. That's too much. Right?
It was like 15 or 16.
And of course, at one point during the end of the match, near the end of the match, Triple H tried to walk out with Ric Flair and the world title belt, only for try to get himself counted out. The referee was like, nope, I'm not counting you out. Triple H. Oh, yeah, and there was a lot of botch spots, too, here, by the way. Steiner, he went to go hit Steiner with a belt on the outside. Steiner reversed it. And the belt didn't even look like it hit Triple H in the head, but somehow he was, quote, busted open by it. His world title belt, for some reason.
The edge hit him just slightly enough where it caused the cut.
And all I can think about is like, nice blade job.
It was the edge of the belt that had caught him very slightly, so you wouldn't have really seen it.
Yeah, and there was... Yeah, and then Scott Steiner tried to pull, like, some moves off, but every time he do, he would fumble it, fall over, drop himself to the ground, whatever. The move just looked shit. Even the neck breakers Triple H and freaking Steiner were performing on each other did not look good.
Yeah.
And then Triple H tried to Triple H at that point tried to have Ric Flair tried to have the match stop due to the blood loss. Earl Hebner once again said, nope, I'm not stopping it. Right?
Yep.
I'm not stopping this shit. I'm not going to... And then freaking Triple H then got desperate, started beating on the official, and including dumping Hebner onto the outside of the ring. Hebner was like, nope, I'm not going to stop it. I'm like thinking to myself, please mercy kill it. At this point. I can't fucking stand this. How many fucking suplexes and botched shit we're seeing here for this match. And then Triple H then grabbed the sledgehammer. And you know what the finish of this match needs? A good old disqualification, signifying this rivalry ain't over.
Yep.
And you know what? Which meant Scott Steiner won by disqualification, but did not win the title. But then afterwards, Steiner freaking just beat down Triple H some more with a sledgehammer, and Ric Flair with a sledgehammer. And they ended up putting Triple H.
Part of the fucking thing is that Steiner fucking started beating the shit out of him with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, but then Steiner did perform the Steiner recliner under Triple H until a bunch of officials and Eric Bischoff came out just pleading him to break the hold.
So I like the fact that they're like, oh, 4 grown men are trying to get Steiner off of Triple H and it's failing. Yeah, you had to emphasize 4 grown men.
Getting freaking get.
Nice call there, freaking Michael Cole.
No, it was Jim Ross who said that this was a Raw main event.
Okay, whatever. Nice call there, Jim Ross.
Yep.
4 grown men couldn't fucking.
So yeah, the initial disqualification.
Literally 4 grown men, and then Eric Bischoff had to come out.
Yeah, and then Triple H obviously got disqualified when he used the sledgehammer to the ribs. To be more specific, and the referee's like, "Screw this! This match is done." But then after Triple H was laid out, Steiner grabbed the belt, put it across Triple H, and just posed for the fans. And I'm just like, yeah, that's about as closest to that world title as you'll ever get.
Yep.
And of course, in Scott Steiner's defense, he stated in later years that he was actually working with Dropfoot in this match. And I'm like, even if he was 100% healthy, these two did not have the best of chemistry together.
Yep.
But Scott Steiner's injury did explain all the botches into this match to a degree. But if that's the case, he shouldn't have been competing in a world title match.
Well, you can see it when he tried to do the underarm suplex when his leg failed.
Yeah, he was trying to do the underhook suplex there, and he just dropped like a sack of potatoes.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was... Oh, fuck, man. And yeah, and you know where that rematch... And Triple H and Scott Steiner would have a rematch. You want to know where that rematch took place? The following month's pay-per-view.
Yep.
God, I'm going to hate reviewing that. I hated reviewing this.
You're the one that decided to do this.
When they were making their entrances, I thought to myself, I am regretting this. So, I don't even think I need to say, but what is your thoughts of this world title encounter?
Shit. A big pile of shit.
Oh, come on. Yeah, just tell us how you really feel.
And fuck you for making me relive that. You stupid son of a bitch.
Yeah, just tell us how you really feel.
How did you feel?
How'd I feel? This match was 18 minutes. It was about freaking 15 minutes too long.
So, in other words, shit.
Yeah, the main event.
18 minutes of pile of shit.
It's like, yeah, the main event scene for Raw at this time period wasn't the greatest.
It was shit.
Yeah. But anyway, you know what show during this time period did not have a crappy main event? SmackDown. That was the next match. It was for the WWE Championship, and it was between the champion Kurt Angle and the challenger Chris Benoit. I know Benoit is a controversial figure. We already discussed that, but we're just here to enjoy the match. Because this match served as a palate cleanser compared to that world title match.
Yes.
So yeah, I liked the video package that aired with Angle pretty much turning heel immediately, aligning himself with Paul Heyman after he beat the Big Show for the title.
Well, I just like the fact the following night I went and hired myself a management to help me with my shit, and the head of it is Paul Heyman.
thus making Angle a heel after his brief face turn in 2002, which that really isn't expected. He works better as a heel. And this also freaking saw the debut of Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, Team Angle. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, Benoit won a number one contenders match, defeating the Big Show by submission on SmackDown. And this whole feud was just sitting around Benoit trying to say he's better than Kurt Angle.
The whole thing is that he's also said, "Oh, I'll challenge anyone." And Paul was like, "Oh, Mike Bryan will challenge anyone except for Brock Lesnar."
Yeah, that too. That's why Benoit was named number one contender here. Right.
And he's like, "Oh, you were afraid to face me. That's why you broke every cartilage in my leg."
Yeah, in his knee. Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it was. Yeah, and it wasn't that long before this one-on-one encounter between Benoit and Angle that they were actually tag team champions at one point. Dysfunctional team, but champions nonetheless. And we'll discuss that when we get to it at some point, right?
They broke up because Angle's big ass head fucking was trying, blow up his ego.
And yeah, I get it. It's hard to enjoy a Benoit match here in 2024, but for obvious reasons. But we do it for the sole purpose of reviewing it. We gotta keep it straight. We gotta keep it real, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, both Benoit and Angle made their entrances. When Benoit got to the ring, he shoved Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin to start it off. The referee came in after Haas and Benjamin were shoving back, and pretty much they got booted for the match immediately.
And they were getting booted immediately anyways because they didn't want interference in the match.
And yes, Angle and Benoit, this was a classic match. This would turn out to be a classic match anyway. And ironically, this is the third time here on this podcast we're talking about a Benoit and Angle match. This time with a title on the line. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and these two went out. They were like, I say they're on each other equal side, but started off with a shoulder tackle, with Benoit with a shoulder tackle, and then Angle boiled out to the floor to avoid a sharpshooter attempt. I thought that was good. You could tell this one was where it was going to go at that point.
Yeah.
Back and forth chain wrestling here. And at some one point, Angle did send Benoit's shoulder first in the ring post, followed by suplex. Thought that was good.
Yeah.
And then Benoit came back with chops and punches, and a boot to the face on Angle, followed by a clothesline back to the back.
Also, a bunch of German suplexes.
Yeah, a bunch of German suplexes from Benoit in this match. And of course, at one point, they did battle to the apron with Benoit hitting a DDT onto the ring apron on Angle. I thought that was great to see. Good inventive spot to see for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at one point, Benoit did go up to the top rope to attempt the diving headbutt of his, but Angle moved out of the way and Benoit hit the mat hard. But Benoit then recovered quickly, and then Benoit did recover, and he managed to slap a sharpshooter submission on Angle, with Angle crawling up to the bottom rope to break the hold. I thought that was... You could never tell who had the advantage because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't freaking do every spot justice for justice here, right? And try to get the most of it.
The first time he tried to use it, Angle fucking got off the mat and freaking superplexed his ass.
And at one point, Benoit did slap a crippler crossface on it, only for Angle to reverse it into a pin attempt, which Benoit kicked out.
And
Benoit,
also, Michael Cole trying to be smart and said, "Oh, according to the scuttlebutt."
exactly.
Which, if
Like,
you guys don't know what scuttlebutt is, it's rumors.
yeah, rumors, yep. Yeah, according to the rumors around here, Angle was milking that knee injury.
Which he was.
Yep. Yeah, but then after Benoit kicked out of that pin attempt, Benoit did put another crossface onto Angle, which Angle nearly tapped out, but he countered into an Angle slam of his own to get a 2 count, right? After a slow cover into it, because at this point both men were exhausted, right?
Yeah, well, Chris Benoit did a DDT on Angle. And then when he went out for the second or the third attempt, or second or third attempt, he went halfway across the damn mat to hit Angle in the back of the head with his head.
With a headbutt. Yeah, he actually nailed that headbutt, and I'm like, yeah, that looked bad, right?
Yep.
And just thinking about what happened later on, yeah, that probably didn't help at all, right? With anything.
You can tell that he had a concussion.
Yeah, but near the end of the matchup, Benoit did slap the crippler crossface on it again, right? Wrenching Angle's back, and Angle looked like he was very close to tapping out, right?
Yeah.
Like, this match could have gone either way at this point, and the fans were into it, like, highly, after all the counters and moves and technical wrestling they seen between these two, which they always delivered. Angle reversed it into an ankle lock submission hold, which Benoit got out of it, not once but twice, but on the third ankle lock attempt, Angle actually grapevined his legs around Benoit's leg.
Yeah.
And despite trying to fight, Benoit knew that he was caught, and Benoit tapped out, thus giving Angle the win to retain the championship.
Yep.
To me, this is the best match of the night. And what's your thoughts about this Benoit Angle match for the title?
It was better than the heavyweight title.
Yeah, by a long freaking mile.
Yeah.
And of course, after the match, Benoit got up and was actually given a standing ovation from the crowd after the performance they just saw from both men.
Yeah.
Knowing that they just seen a masterpiece and the best match of the night. But Benoit in this match proved that he could be a main event player and be a world champion at one point, which he would prove a year later after this. Right?
Yeah, it was after this event was the draft.
But anyway, of course, then we went to the back one last time, and it showed Rob Van Dam stretching backstage, preparing for the Rumble match. Kane went up to Rob and said, who was Rob Van Dam's tag partner at the time. He goes, yeah, you make a great tag partner, but it's every man for himself in the Rumble. In 2 years prior to the 2001 Rumble, Kane was the last one eliminated after eliminating 11 people.
He lasted an hour.
Lasted an hour and was one person short of winning the Rumble, right?
Yep.
And Kane was like, yeah, I'm going to make sure if you're the only last one left to ensure I go to WrestleMania, I am not going to hesitate. And Van Dam was like, that's cool. I'd do the same to you.
Yep.
Basically, right? So I'm not going to go every spot. I'm not going to go through every spot here. But the match started with Shawn Michaels entering at number 1. Just like he did way back in 95.
Yeah, because of Mr. McMahon.
Yeah, and they added a new stipulation where entrances came out every 90 seconds as opposed to the traditional 2 minutes at that time. And of course, Chris Jericho came out as number 2, but the person on the entrance ramp wasn't Jericho, it was Christian dressed as Jericho.
Yep.
allowing Jericho to come in and sneak attack Shawn Michaels from behind and pretty much dominate Michaels the whole time in the Rumble.
Yeah.
And then shortly afterwards, and then Jericho even freaking took a steel chair and nailed Michaels in the head with it, thus busting Michaels open.
Yeah.
And of course, at that point, number 3 came out, which was Christopher Nowinski. Remember him?
Oh, God.
Yeah, Christopher Nowinski, nowadays the one credited for testing Benoit's brain after the incident, realizing Benoit had the brain of an Alzheimer's patient. But either way, but that's a different discussion for another video. It's like Nowinski came out, he didn't even get in the ring. He's like, well, do what you gotta do, Jericho. I'm just gonna chill out here. All right?
Well, the thing is, he was running to the ring, and then he got fucking confronted by Jericho. And he's like,
nope. And he was like, nope, screw that. I'm smart. I ain't getting in the ring. And then with that, Jericho actually eliminated Michaels, who was battered and bloody and in a lot of pain at that point, right?
Number 4, Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio came out at number 4. This was Rey Mysterio's first Royal Rumble match appearance. And he started just beating down on Jericho, and including hitting a springboard dropkick, and took and that almost made Jericho get eliminated. But no, that didn't happen. And then we go
sad for you.
What do you mean sad for me?
You wanted Chris Jericho to not be eliminated, but it didn't happen.
And of course, and it was at this point and then Christopher Nowinski finally got into the ring after Jericho got the advantage over Mysterio to do a double team. Of course, then number 5 came out, which was Edge, who, let's face it, at this point in Edge's life, he was actually going to be written off TV at near this point to have neck surgery.
Yeah.
So pretty much Edge was coming in there with a broken neck at this point, which would put him on the shelf for the first time to have surgery done, and he would be out for the remainder of 2003. Right?
Yeah.
But then Edge and Mysterio teamed up to take down Jericho and Nowinski, which saw Nowinski nearly eliminate both Edge and Mysterio, only for them to go up to the top rope. Mysterio hit a missile dropkick, and Edge landed right on Nowinski's face and head.
Yeah, which made Nowinski, after the Royal Rumble, wear a face mask.
That probably gave him a concussion to boot, right?
To boot.
Right?
To boot.
And of course, Mysterio then eliminated Nowinski shortly after that, right? With the Hurricane Rana.
To boot.
And of course, number 6 was Christian, Edge's storyline brother, right?
Yeah, but I also like the fact that his entrance is Christian, you're finally on your own.
Of course, Christian came out, tried to team up with his quote brother Edge, only for Edge to come back and hit Christian with a spear, right?
Yeah.
And then Rey Mysterio at this point hit a 619 on both Christian and Nowinski.
Well, he had a double 619 because he hit it once and then he shouted 619 again and then hit it again.
And of course, it was at this point Rey Mysterio eliminated Nowinski with a Hurricane Run on the outside of the ring, only for Chris Jericho to clothesline Mysterio to the top rope and eliminated him. Eliminate Mysterio in the process. Much of the dismay from fans, Chavo Guerrero then came out at number 7, who immediately went after Rey Mysterio because those two have history.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after some back and forth between Rey and Chavo Guerrero, Rey Mysterio hit another 619 on both Chavo and Christian. This was before Mysterio got eliminated. Yeah, I might add.
Yeah.
But, either way, Nowinski and Mysterio got out shortly afterwards. Yeah, and then number 8 was Tajiri coming out.
Yeah.
And Tajiri showed a lot of offense on Christian and Chavo Guerrero, including an impressive spin kick at one point.
Yeah, well, he was also showing off that he was called the Japanese Buzzsaw.
Yep, and number 9 was Bill DeMont, formerly known as Hugh Morris in WCW, and the controversial NXT trainer from stories that came up a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
And Bill DeMont had an impressive showing for a while, including hitting people with clotheslines, and he looked like a rugged brawler. That's what he looked like here.
Well, he was a rugged brawler in the whole thing.
I'm just going to go through these quickly. I'm not going to go through all the spots they did after they got in the ring.
Well, with the whole thing with the NXT trainers is that a lot of the NXT superstars also thought that he was pushing them too hard.
Yeah. And of course, in this Rumble, number 10 was Tommy Dreamer, so he went hardcore for a little bit. The ECW alumni here.
Yep.
Which is very unfair just to have Tommy Dreamer have that moniker, because Van Dam was also an ECW alumni too. At this point.
But he was the ECW original though.
Yeah. And of course, Tommy Dreamer.
That's why they called him the alumni.
Yeah, and then Tommy Dreamer brought a trash can full of trash can to him with trash can lids and kendo sticks. And Dreamer just went on everybody, nailing everyone with a kendo stick, including a shot to Jarrett right between Jericho's eyes.
Yep.
Which I believe was a mistake, but yeah. But then afterwards, and then Bill DeMont and Dreamer freaking used freaking pretty much Bill DeMont as a pinata, eliminating him after hitting him a bunch of times with kendo sticks.
Yeah.
And while Dreamer was celebrating that, Jericho and Christian double teamed Dreamer by nailing him in the front of the head and the back of the head with trash can lids.
Trash concerto.
Yep. Trash can lid concerto, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
And then Jericho, as a little bit of revenge, picked up a freaking kendo stick and nailed Dreamer in the back with it hard as hell. Right?
Yeah.
Well,
he didn't take kindly getting fucking smacked right in the fucking face.
I don't think you would take kindly getting smacked in the face with a kendo stick either. and have it leave a big old knot on your face, right?
Well, I wouldn't take a down for where he fucking literally started beating the living shit out of Dreamer with the damn cane.
Yeah, and then Christian eliminated Dreamer, and then Tajiri then at the time hit his springboard elbow onto Jericho and tried to go for the tarantula on Jericho as well, which was a mistake in a Rumble match. Jericho eliminated him after reversing it.
Yeah. That's why I didn't like doing the tarantula.
Yep. And of course, number 11 was my boy. I mean, B squared. I mean, Bull Buchanan. What do you think I named my gamer tag after? Anyway, it's like B squared didn't last too dang long. He was pretty much trying to get his licks on everyone, only to charge at Edge, who avoided him, and Edge tossed him out after 24 seconds in the ring.
Yep.
This would prove to be freaking Bull Buchanan's last WWE appearance as a full-time wrestler, too. He was released shortly after this event.
So that's because backstage they told him, oh, you need to start showing your worth or else we're going to release you. And he also was having problems money-wise and family-wise.
Yep. Yeah, and of course, at the time, he just broke up his tag team with John Cena, and he was pretty much history at that point.
Yeah.
Of course, at least his kid now competes in NXT these days.
Yeah, but I still like the fact when he came back to WWE for a bit, he's like, "Oh, you ruined my life. My wife left me, my kids left me, and my dog bit me."
And then shortly after B Squared's elimination, freaking Chavo Guerrero got eliminated by Edge when Edge nailed spear on him while he was standing on the ring apron after being dumped over the rope.
No.
Yep. Then Edge and Christian were brawling. Edge and Christian were battling on the ropes too. So Jericho, the clever opportunist, eliminated both Edge and Christian.
Yep.
Meaning Jericho was the only one in the ring until number 12 came out, which was Rob Van Dam.
Well, I also like the fact that they say, "Oh, so much for Canadian solidarity."
Yeah. One from Winnipeg eliminated 2 from Toronto.
Yes.
And of course, while Jericho was in the ring alone waiting for Van Dam's entrance, they did a close-up on Jericho's face, and you could see the knot between his forehead look like a damn unicorn.
He was a Jericho.
Yeah, after that Tommy Dreamer kendo stick shot to his face.
Yes, he was the mythical Jericho.
Yes, he was Jericho for this. Of course, Van Dam came out at number 12, started beating the heck out of Jericho and dominating him for a bit. All right.
Yeah.
And of course, once again, Van Dam attempted a slingshot to Jericho, and Jericho avoided elimination by hanging onto the top rope.
Yep.
I mean, Jericho lasted the longest in this match, and that's for reasons why, right?
Yeah.
And number 13, it was Matt Hardy version 1 with Shannon Moore, and apparently Matt strongly dislikes mustard. Remember when Matt Hardy had this gimmick? Yeah, that's nostalgic.
Yes, the Mattitude gimmick.
Were you a Mattitude follower?
Oh my God, that was horrible.
Yeah, I bet you were an MFer, Mattitude follower.
No, I know you were. Definitely know you were an MFer.
Yeah, no. I mean, hell, you're an MFer today, but another saying.
I don't deny that. I don't deny the other saying.
And of course, Matt Hardy went right after Van Dam immediately and had a brief alliance with Jericho attacking Van Dam as well. And then freaking number 14 was the late, great Eddie Guerrero coming out, who at this point was a tag team champion with Chavo Guerrero. They were in between being heels going into faces at this point.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and then at one point Van Dam gave Eddie Guerrero a monkey flip and nearly eliminated him, but Eddie held on to the ropes, right? Avoid elimination. Oh yeah, and Eddie Guerrero's appearance here, this was when he just cut off the mullet too, having his signature short hair look that we're used to.
Well, he had stitches in the back of his head. They had to cut off his hair.
Yep. And of course,
remember he had a brutal match that literally caused lacerations in the back of his head.
Yep. And at one point,
I forget who it was.
And at one point, freaking Eddie Guerrero did hit a frog splash onto Van Dam, who, as we know, he fought at the Judgment Day pay-per-view a year prior that we already covered. And then Matt Hardy hit a twist of fate on Eddie Guerrero, and thus was the only one standing in the ring when the countdown clock happened, which number 15 turned out to be Matt's brother Jeff, who wasn't in a very good place at this time either, by the way. And of course,
he was in the right place.
No, he wasn't really in the right place at all, but you couldn't really see it in the ring here. Of course, this time, Jeff Hardy substance abuse was getting the best of him, man. He was no-showing events, being late to events. And pretty much all that combined caused him to be released after he refused rehab from his first run here later on in the year, this year, right? And of course, the storyline here, the story was that Matt Hardy actually beat the hell out of Jeff and betrayed him before going to SmackDown the prior year. So Jeff here got a little bit of revenge on his brother Matt.
And the little MFer.
Jeff Hardy at one point even did a Swanton bomb to both Matt Hardy and Shannon Moore. It's like before number 16 came out, right?
Yep.
16 was Rosie, the brother of the tribal chief, with Rico walking in the ring with him. We all know Rico's your boy, Mutton Chop Boy.
Well, at this point, he was still part of 3-Minute Warning.
Yeah, Rosie was part of 3-Minute Warning at this time before he became a superhero in training a year later.
And before he became Umaga.
No, Umaga came out later. He was just Rosie.
Yeah, that's what I said. He was Rosie before, then he was the superhero in training, and then I said then he was Umaga.
No, Jamal became Umaga. Rosie was his regular self.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But number 17 was Tess with Stacy, who came out with Stacy Keebler, who was Tess' actual girlfriend in real life at that time.
With the theme song Testicles.
Yes, we all know we all know back then you were a testicle, you still are today.
Nope.
But I'm not referring to as a fan of Tess nowadays. Tess was
that's why I said, remember. That's why I said when you said, I'm like, remember who started that?
Yes. And of course, Tess burst out a couple of power moves on everyone while nearly eliminating Jericho, who was still hanging on by a thread on the turnbuckle. Right?
By his testicles.
God damn it. And of course, the big story of this is like Jericho had the ability to keep himself from being eliminated time and time again, pretty much pulling the Shawn Michaels 95 Rumble trope.
Yeah.
And of course, number 18 was John Cena, who pretty much did a whole 90-second rap to the ring.
Yeah.
Wearing long...
counting.
Yep. It's like, I'm not gonna freaking... It's like, I don't recall all of his moments, but at the end, he was like, my style's like a swollen penis. You can't beat me. I'm like, what the hell? That's not PG. Of course, this was before the PG era.
Yeah.
And of course, John Cena at this time was wearing the long-ass freaking jean pants and everything else, along with his Astro shirts, which he didn't wrestle with a shirt on, just the long jeans. It's trippy seeing John Cena wearing long jeans. Like the George shorts, whatever. Long jeans that cover over his wrestling boots at the time was a little weird, you gotta admit.
Yeah.
We're not used to seeing John Cena like that. And of course, afterwards, Jim Ross goes, 90 seconds, what the hell did he say? And even Jerry Lawler was like, I'm not going to repeat that last one.
It is.
Of course, number 19 was Team Angle member Charlie Haas, who had an impressive showing. Jeff Hardy then got eliminated by Van Dam when Hardy was going for a top rope move on the Van Dam. But that didn't quite work. Number 20 was Rikishi, and Jim Ross mentioned that this was Rikishi's 8th appearance in the Rumble, which is great if you count all the gimmicks for him, but that Rikishi had throughout his career here, but as a character itself, it was probably only like his 4th, I believe.
Yeah.
But overall gimmicks, yeah, we'll give him that at that point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then number 21 was Jamal, who would be the one known as a future Umaga. Right?
It's Umaga, not Umanga.
Umaga, or as William Regal calls it, Umanga.
Umanga. Oh my God.
And of course, Jamal went after Rikishi first, but Rikishi reversed Jamal's offense and actually hits Jamal with a stink face.
Yep.
Which is the way we would want to treat all of our family members. They are cousins. Especially the shitty ones. You want to stick your ass in their face too, don't you? But anyway, after that, Jamal got on the offense and even yelled, "How dare you stick your ass in my face?" Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, number 22 came out, and that would be Kane. Right?
Yep.
And Kane pretty much went on a rampage and attacked everyone, including choke slamming the sideburns off of Rico's face. I bet you enjoyed that spot. You knew I was going to make that joke.
Well, that's because Rico tried to get up in his face, and he's like, "Fuck you."
And Kane even hit a double choke slam on Matt Hardy and Shannon Moore. Right?
Yep.
Also. And then number 23 came out. It was Shelton Benjamin representing Team Angle. And the first thing Shelton Benjamin did was do some double teaming with Haas on Cena on the ring ropes, doing their finisher spot. Matt avoided, and at the same time, Matt Hardy was also avoiding elimination here. Matt was in there pretty good long time too. Number 24 came out. It was Booker T. As we all know, Booker T did hit the scissors kick onto Kane and a flapjack to Matt Hardy. Eddie Guerrero thought it was a good idea to try to sneak up on Booker T, only to be eliminated by Booker T following a backdrop over the top rope.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Booker was going to work on Rikishi, and Cena hasn't done and John Cena didn't do a whole lot in this match. Must be the jeans' fault. Maybe that's why he switched to shorts for his permanent wrestling gear after that.
Yeah.
Right. Number 25 was Bigfoot. I mean A-Train. A-Train's such a nice guy. He'll give you the hair right off his back.
Literally off his back.
And A-Train was dominant. Right?
It was later in the year known as Lord Tensai.
And of course, A-Train's dominant feature here was kind of overshadowed because Shawn Michaels returned to the ring to attack Chris Jericho, which allowed Jericho to be weak enough for Test to boot Jericho out and eliminate him.
Yep.
Jericho lasted the longest in this Rumble match by far. And then Michaels, who was being held back by other officials at this point, managed to just jump over the top rope himself and beat Jericho up some more as revenge for how this match started. So I like the story they were telling with the whole Jericho-Michaels feud that was just beginning at this point.
Yeah. Well, this is also the point where Jericho was turning from face to heel.
Yep. Yeah, and then, this would lead to a WrestleMania 19 match between the two, which we'll review at another time.
Yep.
And of course, the 26th spot is YouTube sensation Maven. The only reason I say that is because he now does his own YouTube videos talking about his career.
Yeah.
Which as soon as Maven got in there, he tried to pick a fight with Kane, only for Kane to just beat the hell out of him too. Right.
Well, he also had that mentality of, you pick on the biggest guy in the yard and show him who's by the way. He picked on the wrong person.
Yeah, and then lucky number 27 was Gold Dust.
Your boy Gold Dust.
He didn't last very long. Because after Gold Dust hit a Shattered Dreams maneuver on the Maven, Freaking he got double teamed by Haas and Benjamin, and Goldust ended up being eliminated. And shortly afterwards, Booker T got eliminated by both Haas and Benjamin as well.
Yeah, Book Dust.
So yeah, Book Dust got eliminated by Team Angle in this match. And of course, number 28, the last superstar representing Raw, was Batista. Which it's sad we never got that one-on-one encounter between Batista and Brock Lesnar. But that's another story for another fantasy booking video.
Actually, I would have loved to see Brock Les, two fucking guys that big, fucking face each other.
Yep.
Yeah, now we won't ever because he doesn't want to put on that muscle mass anymore, so he's shrunk down.
Yep. Of course, Batista came into the ring, and the first person he drilled was Cena with a clothesline, which is ironic because both of those two guys would be the big stars literally 2 years from this point for the Ruthless Aggression era.
Well, there's also pre-evolution breakup.
Yeah. This was pre-evolution forming, by the way. I mean, yeah, Triple H had Ric Flair, but they didn't have the other two yet at this point.
Yeah, well, it was pre everything.
Yeah. And then Rikishi got eliminated by Batista after Batista down with a clothesline over the top rope. And then Rosie and Jamal both got eliminated by Kane earlier, so they were out before this point.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention that. Number 29 was Brock Lesnar, and, well, we all know who was going to win here. He was the one who beat the Big Show earlier in the show to even qualify for this. Right? And yes, hard to believe Brock Lesnar at this time was a face, fan favorite, even though he spent the majority of his career as a heel. Right?
Yeah.
I figure seeing face Brock Lesnar or fan favorite Brock Lesnar from this time is like freaking discovering gold. You're like, huh? This is a rare occurrence. Right?
Yeah.
And Brock Lesnar wasted no time eliminating people. He eliminated Haas and Benjamin, and he eliminated Matt Hardy when he hit Hardy with an F5 over the top rope, which that was a creative spot.
Well, that time also Matt Hardy and Brock Lesnar were having a feud too.
And then of course number 30 was the American Badass Big Evil The Undertaker coming out on his motorcycle.
Yep.
And this was The Undertaker's first appearance in the WWE since the SmackDown after No Mercy, when he was taken out, right, by the Big Show. In the first match he had since the Hell in a Cell encounter with Lesnar 4 months prior to this.
Yep.
And The Undertaker went in there, started beating people up right away, started throwing those freaking soup bones, is like what everyone likes to call him.
Yeah.
And then Taker eliminated Cena. Oh yeah, and then Taker did eliminate Jamal. It was only Rosie that got eliminated by Kane earlier. So Jamal landed literally on top of Cena. And then afterwards, Maven tried to drop kick The Undertaker, just like he did the year prior that eliminated Taker, which it did not work this time. And I like that spot where Taker just no-sells it like you do on 2K. And Maven just turned around looking at The Undertaker's face and got all wide shocked like you've seen a ghost.
He's like, fuck.
And then The Undertaker then delivered a choke slam on the Maven and then picked up Maven and promptly dumped him over the top rope, eliminating him.
Oh, he didn't just dump him over. He
chucked him over. Pretty much getting revenge for the year prior.
He chucked him like a bag of fucking garbage.
Pretty much Taker getting revenge on Maven for what happened a year prior at the Royal Rumble prior to this. Right?
Yeah.
And then A-Train stopped The Undertaker's momentum by hitting an A-Train bomb on the Undertaker. Right. And then A-Train himself got eliminated by Van Dam and Kane.
Yeah.
And when Van Dam and Kane looked like they were going to double team Batista, Kane actually fell for the spot. I was like, hey, Kane told Van Dam, how about I lift you, not just dump you on Batista? Which Van Dam probably let him do, only for Kane to eliminate Van Dam. He goes, I told you I was going to do it. You fell for it. Can't get mad at me. This is the Rumble.
When I saw it, I'm like, you literal dumbass. He literally told you in the back, not even fucking 15 minutes ago.
Not even like an hour ago. He was going to do it.
Well, he's like, well, if it was down to me and you, I'm going to do it. He's like, well, I wouldn't expect any less. And what does happen?
That.
He just knocks him out.
And the final four in this match were Undertaker, Kane, Batista, and Lesnar. Four big guys, right? They could have had a chance of winning, to be honest, but we all know who the real winner would be anyway. And it showed that, and pretty much the two Raw guys, which was Taker and Batista, were taking on the two SmackDown guys, Lesnar and Taker, for this, right?
Yep.
Which, once again, we never seen the Batista and Lesnar match that everyone wanted to see at that point. Both of them were on different brands. That's probably why their paths never crossed. Right?
Yeah.
And I believe at one point it even showed Lesnar hitting Kane with an F5. Those two wouldn't really have much interactions at all either. The only interaction that Kane and Brock Lesnar had following this Rumble would be literally years later in 2018 for that Universal title triple threat they had with Strowman.
Yeah.
So yeah, there really wasn't much contact with Lesnar and Kane either. Right? And at one point, yeah, and then after Kane and Batista were down, Lesnar and Taker just started beating the heck out of each other. Right?
Well, it was Lesnar and Taker that were taking on Kane and Batista. And then once those two were down for a second, for a couple minutes, it was Lesnar that was taking on Taker and renewing their grudge.
Yeah, and at one point it looked like freaking Taker was going to be eliminated, but Brock, probably on purpose or something, drug the Undertaker back in. Right?
Yeah.
And I guess they kind of played off as Taker got lucky, or maybe Lesnar wanted to inflict more damage on Taker or something. And of course, Lesnar went to go do an F5 on Taker, only for Taker to reverse it into a tombstone. And after that, Taker clotheslined Batista out of the ring over the top rope, thus eliminating Batista.
And then he went to his brother.
And, you know, for the Batista fans, this was Batista's first Rumble. He was a Final Four man in, but, you know, not to worry, Batista would go on to win the Royal Rumble 2 years after this. And he would also win a Royal Rumble. He would also win a second Royal Rumble that everyone was really happy about. If you know, you know. But then Undertaker teased that he and Kane were actually going to team up against Lesnar. Right?
Yep.
And then just like Van Dam did before him, Kane actually got fooled into thinking that he was going to be teaming with The Undertaker. Only for Taker to grab Kane, double-cross Kane, and eliminate him in the process.
Yep.
And then Batista came back in with a steel chair, only for Taker to reverse him, and then he nailed Batista in the head with a chair. Right after Batista already was eliminated prior, and Undertaker went to go shout at Batista saying, "Stay out of my business," or whatever the heck it was, prompting Lesnar to sneak up from behind and dump Taker out.
Yep.
Thus meaning Brock Lesnar was the winner of the 2003 Royal Rumble match.
Yep. And he had a shot at Kurt Angle's title
at WrestleMania 19. To be more specific. So your thoughts on this Royal Rumble match from start to finish?
It was good.
I mean, it's hard to grade Royal Rumble matches because of so much happening and so many storyline developments at the same time.
Yeah.
But I thought this was an entertaining Rumble for what it was. Yeah, the winner may have been predictable, but they had fun creative spots to get to that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was a worthy Royal Rumble.
Yes. And now for your favorite segment, the grading of the stars.
Yeah, now it's time for our star grading segment. Oh, God. This is going to be fun. It's like Brock Lesnar defeating the Big Show to earn a spot in the Royal Rumble match. The short 6-minute encounter. It was alright for what it was, but I would probably give it maybe 3 out of 5. Felt average to me.
Well, 3.5 to 4.
I mean, it did its job. It told the story that it needed to tell about Lesnar's struggle getting into the Rumble.
Yeah.
The Dudley Boys defeating Lance Storm and William Regal to win the World Tag Team Championships. I like the creative finish with the heels getting their just desserts in the end.
3.5.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. It's 3.5. I mean, it felt like a match they could have done on Raw, which they did the following night anyway, so. So there you go, right?
Yeah.
Toya Wilson defeating Dawn Marie, quote, Wilson in that stepmother versus stepdaughter match.
2.
I give it about 1.5. Wasn't really that enjoyable. I mean, the storyline was better than the match itself.
That's why I gave it a 2.
Speaking of a storyline that was better than a match itself, Scott Steiner defeating Triple H by disqualification in that World Heavyweight title match.
Negative 1,000.
Negative 2,000 out of 5.
Negative infinity.
The shittiest match on the card. I would not recommend watching that. Right? Yeah, we tore this match apart.
It was shit from beginning to end.
Yes. Kurt Angle defeating Chris Benoit by submission to retain the WWE Championship. In that classic match,
About a 4.5.
I have to give it 5 out of 5. The best singles match on the card here. And the main event, which was Brock Lesnar winning the 30-man Royal Rumble match to earn a shot at the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 19.
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. I'll give it 4.5 here. Out of 5. I mean, the ending, the winner was predictable, but how they got there made it felt worthwhile to see. With all the storylines and everything intertwining with each other in this Rumble match.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what is my final grade for the 2003 Royal Rumble? I really hate to say it because there's average match. There's some average matches on here, a crappy match, and 2 good matches. I'd have to say when you round it out, it evens itself out to a C.
D.
Why would you give it a D? Explain your reasons.
Well, one, because the Marie and Tori match was shit, and the Raw main event was shit. The whole other parts of the matches did not make up for it, barely.
Okay.
So I give it a D.
So yeah, I give this one a C, and that's only because of the strength of the WWE title match and the Royal Rumble match itself. So, now that we got this crappy event that you've been dreading all week out of the way, the ball's in your court now. What are we going to be doing next week on the podcast?
No mercy.
Specifically, which one?
I think it was 2003 or 2002.
Wait a minute. Weren't we talking about this? Oh my god. Wait a minute. You want to do the 2002 one, don't you? The one that had the Lesnar Taker Cell match. Oh, great. Now you're paying me back because I just realized what the other world title match was. Great. We go from one shitty world title match to one that happened 4 months prior. And I'm not saying the match itself was bad, but we know it was a Katie Vick storyline. Why are you freaking torturing me? Guess this is your payback.
Well, I could have said Heroes of Wrestling or King of the Ring 95.
You can watch those on your own and tell me how it went, because I'm not watching that bullshit. I'm sorry, but any of those matches from those shows would make Triple H Steiner look like a masterpiece. Oh, yeah, and we also need to discuss this. Now that we reviewed both, which match do you think was worse? Triple H versus Steiner or Cole versus Lawler?
They were both horrible.
Yeah, but if you had to pick just one of those two that was the worst one, which would it be?
Cole and then Lawler.
Yeah, because in Triple H and Steiner's events, at least they're both wrestlers. Michael Cole is not a wrestler; he's an announcer.
No.
Anyway, that being said, we'll see you next week when we review the 2002 No Mercy event.
I said, be afraid. Be very afraid.
Lord help me.